Adult Solutions. Add-on desire.
Hello my dear students, welcome to Adult Solutions once again. Yes, once again you are with your NABI sir, and once again we are going to start with geography. Already we have done chapter number 2. In a beautiful sense we have understood about India, specifically about its location, its physical map and on its own features. Physical features we call that. What do we have in India? Now drainage, the chapter number 3. Very important to understand that. It is not something that the municipal corporation department is responsible to take care of this drainage, or sometimes we don't even give attention to these portions because we feel that it is not something that we can do. It is not something that we can do something for this. It is not something that we can also put anything like initiative or maintain or cleanliness or something. It is not our duty. Either it is God's duty or the government's duty. Yes, that's what we feel. Either it is God's duty or it is government duty, but we all should also understand, my dear student, that this is nothing about like something God created or something government created. This is what we use, and this is also our responsibility because after all we live in a society. So that's the reason this is the chapter in a textbook, and when it is textbook in NCERT, most authentic books to study. In 9th class, if it is here in geography and social science, it means it is seriously and sincerely very important. So let's connect with that. Drainage, the first thing that you will find here. My lovely student, the term drainage, whenever we feel it, first of all, before we start, let me tell you one thing, that whenever we find like drainage, we get something like a bad expressions or how cheap it is, or we don't give a good expressions and that explore or anything like that. It is nothing to do with that. That's what we feel. So the term drainage describes the river system of an area. It is not something that we dump our dust or we dump our litters or anything like that. Okay, system of an area, river system of an area particularly. Look at the physical map. You will notice that small streams flowing from different directions. Small streams, what we are talking about? Yes, small streams that we use, and our wastages water goes there. Our wastages water goes there, flows there. In the sense when we take shower, that water. When we wash our clothes, that water. When we wash our utensils in the sense our kitchen appliances and all, the water goes there. And anything that we do, something, okay. So small streams flowing from the different directions come together to form the main river, which ultimately drains into a large water body. Large water body such as a lake or a sea or an ocean. The area drained by a single river system is called a drainage basin. Also the important question to understand, that what do we understand with the drainage area? It would be like one line answer. One line answer, for example, for 1 marks it would be define drainage basin or anything like that. What do you understand with that drainage basin? So the area drained by a single river system is called a drainage basin. A closer observation on a map will indicate that any elevated area where we get a water allowed to flow, such as a mountain or an upland, separates two drainage basins. Such an upland is known as the water divide. That's what in the figure 3.1 we are going to see that. Which river has the largest basin in India? Do you know, my dear student, here? The world's largest drainage basin is of the Amazon River. Amazon River, that's in South Africa, that we understand as Latin America. So what they are asking us to do, which river has the largest basin in India? That's what for us. We're talking about largest basin is Amazon in South America. That's the world's largest. Now, what is the India's largest basin? Here you see stream A, water divide, and stream B. Stream A, stream B, and this is what the water divide we can get here. Drainage system in India. We'll get it out here. The drainage system of India are mainly controlled by the broad relief feature of the subcontinent. Broad, relief system of the subcontinent. Accordingly, the Indian rivers are divided into two major groups. That's very important to understand. Indian rivers are divided into two major groups. That's what we understand as the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. In the previous chapters also we have understood that with proper map even, that the Himalayan river we get as Ganga and the tributaries of Gangas. For example, most or the largest tributary. What do we have the largest tributary of Ganga river? As Ganga we have as a holy river, okay? So Yamuna is the largest or the big, okay, river of Ganga river as the tributary in the sense helping that, for example, this is a river and another river is coming and melting here and it increases the size of that, and then together they are mixing and disappearing in the Bay of Bengal or in Arabian Sea or in Indian Ocean. That is what we have different things. So first Himalayan river that comes from the Himalaya, okay, and then peninsular river that also we have like Godavari, Krishna, Narmada, like that. Apart from originating from the two major physiographic regions of India, from the Himalaya or from the plain peninsular and all. Apart of these two, the Himalayan and the peninsular rivers are different from each other. It is not something that we have the origin place is different over here. One is from Himalaya mountain and one is from plain area, like that, peninsular rivers. It's not the one thing that makes them differentiate with each other or it creates the differences between each other. No. A part of this, the another thing is the Himalayan and the peninsular river are different from each other in many ways. Most of the Himalayan rivers are perennial. Most of the Himalayan rivers are perennial. Perennial in the sense, it means that they have water throughout the year. That is the important. For example, what we have understood or studied about like Sundarban, as Sundarban and all, that's what we have as evergreen forest. Evergreen forest and that Sundarban areas and all, that entire 365 years and all they get green or whatever the color of the leaves are, they get in that genuine color. Means they don't usually follow or feel or get or experience the autumn season. Usually they don't. That's why entire 12 months or 366 days they get green. So that's what we call evergreen. But ever flowing, on the other hand, ever flowing rivers, that's what the term we have perennial. So perennial, what do we understand that? Ever flowing means it's full with water, flowing entire year. That's what the term we have perennial. It flows entire year. This is perennial. Entire year perennial. Entire year perennial, you'll have to remember in that zone. Okay, now it means that they have water throughout the year, entire year. These rivers receive water from rain as well as from the melted snow from the glaciers, from the lofty mountains. They get water from, for example, if they are ever flowing in the sense. So obviously they require rain all the time, but it is not like that. Yes, for example, we have seen in Rajasthan that river particularly starts in that monsoon river. Okay, it's a monsoon river. It starts in that particular area where they get small like rain or like 150 mm and all. And after that it disappears, it dries. It beings like a empty or something. But if it is flowing entire year means perennial. So obviously they require two things, either the water from the rain or water where they get from like anything like glaciers or the softy mountains or anything like that where they get snow. Okay, so snow from the lofty mountains, the two major Himalayan rivers, the Indus and the Brahmaputra. The Indus and the Brahmaputra, we have studied about the IGB when we were studying yesterday. Remember IGB, Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra. Most important in order to understand that Himalayan river system and all. So here Indus River as well as the Brahmaputra River originate from the north of the mountain range. They have cut through the mountain, making gorges. They have cut through the mountains, making gorges. Means gorges is nothing, like you can see gorges over here. Once they want to find the way and they create their way, it is called gorge. Did you get the thing? For example, usually what happens, any small rivers if you will find, that is specifically made by any particular like colonial rule in British period or with that like Mughal period. Okay, before that Mughal period, specifically British or those Mughal made some like a water reservoir and all. Okay, that's what we have understood in the previous classes of our geography textbook as well as the civics or geography both. We have understood that those Mughals and all were very keen, very interested, very fond of creating water reservoir in their palaces. For example, if you'll go to the like Taj Mahal, you will find that water reservoir. Okay, if you the Taj Mahal as these like monuments famous in the world, 7th miracle, 8th miracle, like that. Or if you'll go to the Jama Masjid or any masjid, you'll find the reservoir over there. Or if you'll go anywhere, specifically like even Red Fort and all, people were keen to follow that reservoir. So that time also they were getting the path, or they were cutting the path of the river and melting that. For example, that Yamuna river behind or beside the Red Fort's wall, behind or beside the Red Fort wall, that is nothing, the small helping shapes, that was a part of river, done by the human beings. But this gorge is not by human beings, they create their way by themselves. If they go left or right or anything like that, they crawl by their way. So you can find this way, it is not made by any prince, any ruler, any king, by nature. It is by nature, so that's why we call gorge. So now you know the gorge because you also have the question like that you may get. Define gorges. The gorges are gorgeous. These gorges are gorgeous to see because you find a very peaceful environment over here. So mountain making gorges, the Himalayas rivers have long courses from their source to the sea. You see, they perform intensive erosional activity in their upper courses and carry huge loads of silt and sand. Huge loads of silt and the sands. In the middle, in the central and the lower courses, what happens? These rivers form meander, oxbow lakes, meander and oxbow lakes, and many other depositional features in their floodplains. In their floodplains, they also have well-developed deltas. Figure 3.3, well-developed deltas. We all understand delta. I already told you, my dear student, about the delta. For example, if the river is coming from here, source of river, either it is Himalayan one or anything, peninsular river or Himalayan river. We have understood about two types of different their origin as well as their types, their gorges style and all. So for example, if it is sources of river, then this is upper course it is coming, then middle course it is coming oxbow lake, and then meander, and then lower course, and then this is what they make delta. Delta in the sense, I told you that if this is the hand, if the river is coming from here and it's going and is split into few parts before it's disappearing in the Bay of Bengal or in Arabian Sea or the Indian Ocean, that portion is called deltas. That's what you can see, figure 3.3 beautifully. Now, a large number of the peninsular rivers, what we are talking about, we have already discussed that perennial of those mountain rivers, perennial shape of those mountain rivers in the sense ever flowing river. All the 365 days entire year they have water in that. We have understood this. Now let's come to the peninsular river. Peninsular rivers are not like that. They are seasonal. Specifically, even they may have some water entire year. It is not like that they will dry completely. No. It is not. They may have water entire year, but that would be something like in monsoon river they get 1 glass water, and in monsoon river if they get 1 glass water, just for an example, the entire year they will get few drops. That would be the difference. that doesn't mean they will dry up cleanly, properly, like a Rajasthan river, we discussed last chapter. Okay, so they get, but the thing is they are seasonal, as their flow is dependent on rainfall. If it is heavy rainfall, they may also get or maintain like that flood related warning areas and all. They also maintain that. They also creates like floods and natural disasters such as like that. And if the water is in a medium, they flow with a full speed and all. But if the rainfall is very low, so they get low water. If there is no rainfall since like before or after monsoon, they don't get too much water. They get, I told you example, if the monsoon season they get 1 glass of water, in rest of the year they get few drops only. During the dry season means not the monsoon season, even the large rivers have reduced flow of water in their channel. Reduced, that's the term here. Reduced flow of water means less water in their channels. The peninsular rivers have shorter and shallower. The peninsular rivers have shorter as well as the shallower courses as compared to their Himalayan counterparts. Obviously, we cannot compare with that. Why? Because that is something that you know, and we all know that the Himalayas are always with that ice, and that is always covered with that. That's why we see white color over there. Okay, we have seen in the previous chapter the beautiful pictures as well. But the thing is, because of that's global warming, means entire globe is getting warm. Global warming, if you will define the entire globe, entire earth, entire like blue planet is getting warm because of many reasons. Very large size of the density of the people, cutting trees and all. Okay, trees maintain coolness, and the population, means of transport, industries, chemical industries, machineries and all. Engines, smoke, this, that, many different gases that makes the environment warm. So it is getting warm. So because of that global warming, these ice entire year they flows and they come down with that. That's why we call that parallel. But here it is shorter and shallower courses as compared to the Himalaya counterpart, because that has the different geographical phases, and here different geographical phases. Simple. However, some of them originate in the central highlands. Some of them originate in the central highland and flow towards the west. Maximum what you will find that from the west to the east, if they all are going. Okay, that portion. Can you identify two such large rivers? Flow towards the west means from the east to the west. Most of the rivers of peninsular India originate in the western Ghats and flows towards the Bay of Bengal. They flows towards the Bay of Bengal, not to the Arabian Sea. What they are saying actually, that most of the rivers that flows from the east to the west, from the west to the east, from the west to the east. But what are the rivers that flows from east to the west? For example, we have seen, okay, like if this is India, okay, so specifically this portion we have like Sri Lanka over here. Okay, so most of the rivers you will find like even Ganga and all, Ganga and Yamuna, they are coming from here and melting in the Bay of Bengal. This is what we know, that it is Indian Ocean and in the Arabian Sea. So they are asking that what are the two rivers? Actually two rivers they are asking, that can you identify any two such large rivers that flows from the east to the west, not from the west to the east. That is most probably you will find from the west to the east and coming from this Bay of Bengal. What are the two rivers? So you, in order to remember that, you have to remember that T N M S L. T N M S L. What are the two rivers they are asking? I am giving you 5 names. T N M S L. TNMS, Tamil Nadu, M se Madurai, Sri Lanka. Tamil Nadu, Madurai, Sri Lanka, or Madras, it was Madras. So Tamil Nadu, Madras, Sri Lanka, like that. It is always problem with Tamil. Do you know that? In Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka, it is always problem with Tamil and Singhali people. So you can also connect Tamil Nadu and Singhali, SL or Sri Lanka, whatever you understand, TNMSL. So here, that I wrote here, the TNMSL, so write down like that T N M S L. This T stands for Tapi. This N stands for Narmada. They are specifically in Maharashtra. In Maharashtra region. M stands for Mahi. Oh Mahi, way Mahi. Okay, M stands for Mahi. So it's specifically from Gujarat. N S Son and L Luni. T N M S L Soni. Okay, so that river we have as in the Tapi, Narmada, Mahi, Soni, Luni. Yeah, so Tapi, Narmada, Mahi, Soni, river. And Luni. Luni in Rajasthan. Soni also known as Sabarmati. That very famous from Gujarat. Also for Gujarat, very well known for Mahatma Gandhi. It is interrelated, interconnected with that. Sabarmati ke laadle tune kar diya kamal. Okay, Sabarmati ke laadle tune kar diya kamal. It is a very famous, like energetic song from like that national movements and national reforms related areas. So that Sabarmati, those Luni, Soni, like Sabarmati, Luni, Soni. You can connect with that. Luni, Soni or Sabarmati. Luni, Sabarmati, Mahi, Narmada, Tapi. And that is the option over here. And then we have Satluj and Ravi. We have Satluj and Ravi. So you can also connect that with that after L, Satluj and Ravi, SR. That is in the Jammu Kashmir side, and these are the two rivers that going to the Pakistan. From India, it's flowing to the Pakistan, and then they all are coming to the Arabian Sea. Did you get? TNMSL. You have to remember that, because it is very important to understand what are the rivers that flowing from the west to the east. Almost you can find from the east to the west. From the east to the west, it is very rare from the east to the west, or rest you will find just from the west to the east. Like in the Bay of Bengal, they are disappearing or making deltas before Bay of Bengal.
Add-on solutions. Add-on desired.